All right, guys, so today I'm going to show you this new design that I've been working on. It's for a very odd house. As always, I like to start with a sketch, and I made a few sketches before I started modeling anything. And these are just sketches where I'm thinking about how the overall mass is going to look like in section, in plan, in perspective. And these are like aerial perspective that I make. And these sketches aren't meant to be displayed to anybody. I'm showing you now, but these aren't supposed to be like really clear sketches where you can look at it and you would understand. This is a way of me, like, rather than writing out a paragraph of what I want, I can visually just sketch something really quickly. And so in this sketch here, I'm thinking about how the two shapes here interlock a little bit more detailed in the sketch than you can see here, for example. So this is basically a more detailed sketch of this. And this was just like the interior of the house, because even though I'm not going to be modeling the inside of the house, I'm only going to be doing the outside. I like to have an idea of what the inside would look like. And so this is just a kitchen and a living space. I know it makes no sense to any of you guys, but that's what I was thinking. So I basically start out with Rhino, and before I continue, I just want to point out that usually in these videos I'll record myself as I'm modeling, but the thing is that it becomes really annoying to edit later, because since I'm starting with a sketch and I don't really have a clear idea of where I'm going, I don't know exactly what these models are going to look like in detail. And so there's a lot of going back and forth, and I end up with 6 or 7 hour long videos that I have to edit down. So what I did this time is that I modeled, and every step along the way that I considered a milestone, I took a screenshot of it. But enough talking, let's just get to it. So I started out with the two shapes in plan, and this is just lines at this point. And then I extruded these volumes and I made the angled edges. So down here would be one program and up here would be another program. And just so you guys know, just so you guys aren't completely lost, what I was thinking that would be up here at first would be the kitchen and the living area, but I ended up reversing it, and all the public spaces would be down here, or semi-public, and then all the private spaces would be up here. So we would have the bedrooms here and some sort of family area in this corner, and that's of course where the stairs would go. But I'm not modeling any of the inside. Next, I started to get kind of funky with this structure, and I was just thinking of a way that I can create the structure without hiding it, but instead exposing it. And why did I do that? Well, as I was modeling, I thought it would be something cool to do, and structurally speaking, this house is gonna have some issues here, but this is a fun exercise that we're doing. So even though this isn't 100% possible at this stage, I just decided to model, have fun with this, and then leave the realism for real life. I then added this bottom portion here where I can have the carport, and that would also be the main access into the entrance of the house. So we would basically have some sort of road that leads up to this exterior driveway here, which is kind of like a carport. And basically the residents would park their car here and then walk into this space here. And then the living room and the kitchen and all that stuff would be all around here. You'll also notice that I trimmed these structure points here, and that's to make space so that this can be used as an outdoor patio on the second level. Now, if we were to do something like this structurally, we would probably have to dip the structure in and create a beam that goes under the slab. But that's a conversation for a structural engineer. Like I said, this is just for fun. I try to make it somewhat realistic, but I don't let that stop my creativity. And so something else that kind of sparked the idea for the design of this structure was the fact that I wanted these slabs to be hung from these beams that are here, kind of like an upturned beam. And so the idea is that I wanted to keep all this curtain glass on the exterior, and of course there would be mullions, but I wanted the ceiling to be hung from the top, and then I wanted the glass to be hung from the ceiling and locked into place using the floor slab. And then I wanted to have a pool, and I wanted to have that pool at the top deck at first, but then I would have to increase the thickness of this slab by a lot. And since I didn't want to go back and redo everything that I had done, I decided to just carve out a little space from this area here, since this was pretty big anyway, and I decided to make that an outdoor patio with a pool. And so I continued to add details. I kept on carving parts out. I made a little balcony on the back side here, and on this front side I started to carve out the space where I could put doors, and I also added the mullions to the glass. And then you can start to see that the details are there. I'm not gonna sit here and make this 100% realistic detail wise, but I've added a lot of detail, and overall it's looking incredible in my opinion. Now I know I said that it's looking incredible, but between you and I, when I was about at this point here, which is pretty much almost done, I did this in about 2 days, right? And so when I was at this point here, I was looking at this structure and I was just like completely, I just wanted to trash this design, because even though I had an overall idea in my head, I felt like I was losing that idea in this model, and so I just wanted to quit. I was gonna basically be like, you know what, I don't want to work on this anymore, and I'm not gonna continue to do this anymore, just because I was completely uninspired by it. So the idea was that I was gonna trash this, leave it in my graveyard of files, and start a new design completely from scratch that looked nothing like this. But I'm glad that I didn't do that, because the final actually turned out incredible in my opinion. And so that's a little tip for you guys. Sometimes you're halfway there and you think that it's really bad what you're doing, and I don't think you should aim for a beautiful building, but I think you should aim in finding beauty in what you're creating. So sometimes what you've created is not beautiful yet, but it doesn't mean that it's not on its way to become beautiful. So that's something that I experienced time and time again. And so before we get into Twinmotion, I just want to point out something that I've realized about my life lately, and that is that my style has developed into two basic elements, and that's repetition. If you see my designs lately, you'll see a lot of repetition of elements and angles. And of course, a 90-degree angle is an angle, but I mean basically acute and obtuse angles in my designs. So I don't know why, but I'm really attracted in those two characteristics. And so my designs are, at this point in my life, are starting to feature, or are tending to feature, those two elements over and over and over again. And to tell you the truth, I'm just letting it happen. I'm not stopping myself. I'm just going ahead with it, and I'm really enjoying what's coming from these exercises. All right, so I've pretty much finished designing this house. And to tell you the truth, I was not happy with this thing at all when I first started designing it. But I'm really happy with the way that it's turned out. Kind of reminds me of, if you've ever played the game Halo, the main character, Master Chief. I feel like he would live in a house like this for some reason. It just has like that Halo-esque type of nature to it. But I'm so excited. We're going to be using Twinmotion 2020. We're finally going to see those people that actually look like people and not like horrible monsters. I'll stop talking. Let's get into Twinmotion 2020. Now, while this is opening up, I want to let you know that I don't know what materials I'm going to be using. I know there's going to be definitely glass in there, but I was thinking overall I want it to be a concrete structure. When I noticed that this was like a Halo type structure, I was like, man, maybe I should use some purple in there somewhere, and I think that would be super cool. Maybe I do that, but I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to do that. Sometimes, like with this design, for example, I felt really creative and really... and I really wanted to step out of my comfort zone. But when it comes to that final render, I don't know if I want to step out of my comfort zone. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I think I will though. Let's see what happens. Nice, so there's that model, and we're gonna be changing the background and a few things so that we're not gonna keep everything. But first we're gonna work on the landscape. And after that, we're gonna add some materials to this and call it a day. Actually, before we start modeling the landscape, let's add our views or shots. That way I know what I should be focusing on. Next one will probably be a drone shot, maybe something like this, and we can alter that later. I really hate that the city's showing up from behind. I wanted this to be kind of like in the middle of the woods, but I guess that's fine. I don't know how to turn that off, so if anybody knows, let me know down in the comments. The next one could probably be something like this, just to highlight the overall geometries of the structure. And we'll do an aerial shot. And I don't think this one's terribly exciting, but we'll do an entrance shot of the house. And I won't render all of these, but I'll probably pick the top three, but I'll use this as like a starting point. This is also a pretty cool shot where the two shapes are interlocking. Now we get into the landscape. All right, so I've made like this little lake that probably comes from a stream that disappears that way, but I'm probably not gonna model that. I might not even keep this lake. I don't know, we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like at the very end. I think I've decided that I'm gonna make this a snow house. Or a winter house, not a snow house, a winter house. Or a winter scene. Okay, for you picky people. I think this would be the first render I've ever made in my life that's in the snow. All right, so I've finished creating this winter wonderland, and I still have a tree selected, but you can see that I've made that this lake is not completely frozen over yet. And I still haven't added materials, but I adjusted the shadows on some of these shots, you know, just more or less until I add the materials and see what it looks like. But Some of these shots are looking very nice and some of them still need a lot of work. So right now we're going to get to the fun part, which is adding all the materials, and then after that we'll see what we need to fix on each of the views. We'll start out with the glass, and I usually pick a very reflective glass so that we can't see inside it, even though that looks really cool already. That was like magic, you see? And you'll notice that something that looks really nice off the bat is the way that the mullions are laid out. So the more details that you add to your design, guys, the better it's gonna look overall. Sometimes you look at your design and you're like, you know, what's wrong with it? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the details haven't been fleshed out yet completely. So we're gonna cheat a little bit and we're gonna make this glass a little bit more reflective than it already is. And the reason that we're gonna do this so that we don't see inside. We wanna see kind of through it, but we don't want to completely see the inside of it. We don't want to be distracted by the emptiness of it. Now, from the very beginning, I wanted to use some sort of concrete for the overall structure, and I think concrete usually always looks nice. Some people don't like it because it tends to look a little cold, and I don't mean temperature wise, I just mean that overall it doesn't feel cozy being in a concrete structure. But I actually think that it is kind of cozy being inside a concrete structure. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try concrete, but I don't think I'm gonna end up sticking with it. I think I'm gonna get a little bit more experimental, as I mentioned before, or maybe I do make everything except for this. Maybe these I make metal or something. See, this is what it looks like. We have the concrete, and I turned off the weather on it because if you leave the weather on, it looks like snow. So even though this is more realistic because of the snow that's all around, you lose a lot of the detail, and I don't really want to have that. So I've made basically everything out of concrete. I haven't touched that structure yet, but everything's made out of concrete except these right here. Pretty much any walking surface is going to be made out of concrete as well, but it's a smooth concrete, and it's going to have a little bit of that reflective quality to it. The shadows have to be adjusted, of course. And then we'll render these. We'll say our goodbyes until next time, and I'll upload them on my Patreon. But we still got a few things to do here, so let's see what we do. So we'll start out with some metal. Of course, I love copper. It's one of my favorite materials. And this is that hammered copper, which really you can't go wrong with copper. You really can't. It looks kind of cartoony right now. That's because it's not rendered, of course. It's gonna look way more vivid once the shadows are set and everything, but we'll skip the copper for this time. And maybe we do some, you know what, let's try that purple that I was talking about before. Oh look, corn steel, as I've mentioned before, that I enjoy. The scale would have to be fixed, but now's not the time for the corn steel. You know, this is red. Red looks beautiful as well. I'm probably gonna go with some red. Kind of gives it that Christmassy feeling. I think definitely red is what I'm gonna be going with. But since this did remind me of Halo, why don't we try out some purple just to see what it looks like. Look at that. I hate it. That's not purple. I know it's not purple, but I just saw this material and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I feel like this material has become a little bit of a cliche in the architecture world, where every facade, every big empty facade uses this texture. So we're not gonna do that. The Alucobond panels, not bad, but not great. Let's try some galvanized steel, but we're gonna make this purple. What do you think? Definitely interesting. Reminds me more of Saints Row than it does Halo. There definitely is some Halo in there. I don't know, guys, it's not bad. Not bad, it's cool. And I actually like this shot better than that other one that we had chosen. So let's go and switch this one real quick. You know what? I don't totally love the purple. I'm not gonna lie, I don't totally love it, but I also don't hate it for some reason. All right, what do you guys think? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I think it's staying. I think it's gonna be purple. Partly because I don't think I've ever seen a purple building before. Not even in renderings. I feel like purple is not a loved color. Most people would not like purple. Most people. I know people do like purple, but most people do not, I assume. But let me know down in the comments what you think of the color purple, and let me know what you think if you hate this decision that I've just made of making these structural members the color purple. I'm actually really interested to see what you guys think. All right, so now it's time to add the finishing touches here. We're gonna add some people. We're gonna add a little bit of furniture, a car or two. And I think I'm gonna add one more rendering that's really up close to the building so that I can really showcase the people from Twinmotion 2020. Because in 2019 they look terrible, but in 2020 I heard they look really good. So I wanna get one shot. It's probably gonna be here or maybe here. I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe we get super crazy and put someone in this freezing pool right now. Or maybe it's heated. In case you wanted to see the inside of the house, here it is. There's nothing. Maybe in one video someday, I will update what this looks like. But you can see this is a really stunning interior. Like being inside here would be so cool. Having a living room, the kitchen would probably be around here somewhere. I don't know. I really don't know. I wasn't thinking of the interior too much when I was designing it. I know that the rooms and stuff were going to be here originally, but I don't know. I would have to design the interior. Oh man, I forgot to put a door here. I had to put doors over here, which I haven't added materials to yet, but I completely forgot to put doors right there. Well, it's too late for that. Oh, and I missed doors here too. Great. This will probably be my my close-up shot. I've added some furniture to the house just to make it look, you know, like there's people living here. Thing about Twinmotion is that they don't really have the best selection of furniture and other objects, so I really don't want to overdo it. Some of this stuff I don't agree with, but I guess certain people would do something like this, so I guess that's why I'm accepting this option here. Let's just put a car here in this small driveway, and of course we have to have a very nice looking car. Let's turn this car around. Oh, it has snow on it. Perfect. Yeah, I don't think you could turn that off. The snow that's on it, unfortunately, I don't think you can. Oh well, it's fine. It'll stay that way. This all kind of bugs me. I wish I would have done something different here, but it's too late to change it. At least for the point of this exercise. Like if this was a real design that I was doing, or for a client, I mean, I would definitely change that wall at this point. It would be something else. It would have to be broken up. It's too distracting, and I really don't enjoy that. Let's put a couple people now in the scene. Let's see what these people are all about. All right, so can I not change his posture? Are you serious? I can't change his posture? I mean, I will say that is way better now. These people look way more realistic. They're actually competing now with Enscape, which is good. But I can't change this guy's posture. Incredible. Is it because I have to select maybe the animated humans? Let's see Amir. There we go. Yeah, it's because I have to pick the animated ones. So Amir's going to be sitting in this little table. And the animated humans don't look quite as nice as the posed ones, unfortunately. But I guess it's okay. Yeah, that looks terrible. Oh, God. These people, hopefully it's just because I have the quality turned down. Hopefully during the render it looks okay, but these animated people just look horrendous. She looks worried. I don't want her to be worried. Maybe she feels like she can't afford the bills. Yeah, let's give her someone to talk to. All right, Michael, you gotta sit down as well. And let's not pick animated humans. Let's pick these posed humans so that we can pick someone that looks actually nice. Here, let's put Glenn over here walking over to meet his buddy who's reading over here on the table. Maybe this is his friend that's coming over. Maybe he lives here. Oh wait, we do have people that are sitting. Let's add Marcel instead. Here. Sorry, Amir, you're gone. Since this guy's closer to my camera, I want someone that looks better. All right, that's cool. We'll just add one more person here. Perfect. And all we have to do now is just fix some of these shadows on the individual perspectives. All right, so here we are. I finished adjusting all the images. These are pretty much going to be the final renderings that we're going to make right now. And before I show you the finished product, I just want to let you know that I tweaked all the shadows. I tweaked the lighting. There's still things that, you know, I want to tweak here and there, but I pretty much have to call this quits. So before I show you the final renderings, I just want to give you some quick information, which is overall, I spent probably 30 minutes sketching out the initial design. I probably spent an hour to 2 hours modeling the Rhino file, which here it is. This is that file that I had made and I had imported into Twinmotion. And then I probably spent another hour or two on Twinmotion, adding the materials and whatnot. So overall, I probably spent 5 or 6 hours on this design. There's still a lot of things missing, and I always mention that when I make these designs, they're not final in any way. They're just a way for me to basically express my creativity, but also express my curiosity. And so I welcome any critiques that you guys have, because that's really what this is for. It's just for you guys to see what I'm doing, be inspired, be motivated, and try out cool things on your own. Maybe one of you guys see this and you're like, hey, I hate the purple and I hate the overall design, but that really inspired me to try something similar that, you know, basically you got an idea from or whatnot. So that's really the main purpose for these designs. It's just for fun, to practice and express my creativity, and also to inspire and motivate you guys. But with that being said, I'm Mooch. This is Pigeon Head Architecture. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the design. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you down in the comments, and enjoy these final renderings.